How do you audit your Pinterest account? Is that a thing? What does it look like? What are the steps you take to do a full comprehensive audit of your Pinterest account? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. I am Kate All. I'm the owner and founder of Simple Pin Media. We are a Pinterest marketing agency. We've been doing Pinterest marketing now for over 11 years, and audits are actually one of the first services I provided for my clients because they would come to me and they would say, I don't even know where to start. And a lot of times people would put their marketing, maybe their images, their keywords, all of that in front of actually taking stock of what's working, what's not working, what do you need to update or not update, or even add to your Pinterest account. So I invented this audit in order to give people a full comprehensive checklist as to what you should do and not do. And just so you know, down below in the description, you can hire our team to do this for you. We will fully audit your Pinterest account and give you a report where you can take the steps to update your account so that you have a strong foundation in your marketing. So just click below in the description. A really important step before you start your audit is to set aside at least an hour of time. You are not doing this on a day where you are doing any other work. You are doing it in a time where you have 1 hour to dedicate to clicking around your Pinterest account, looking at your website, looking at your seller site so you can make notes. That's another important distinction. You're not actually taking action. You are just auditing. You're assessing the situation to see what do you need to do. You may come through this audit and find that you only have 2 to 3 things to change. You may go through the Pinterest audit and find that you have 20 things to change. Whatever you come away with on the other side, you can evaluate when you should make changes and how you should make changes. One really important note about when to make changes on Pinterest is that Q2 is notoriously a very low traffic time for most people who are using Pinterest. Pinterest has even said itself that it's a low traffic time for their users. So I always recommend to people that if you're going to do an audit and come away with a list of things you need to change in your Pinterest account, make sure that you set aside time during slow months to be able to make those changes. Okay, let's dive into the steps you need to take to audit your Pinterest account. Step 1 is always evaluate your website. Pinterest is what we like to refer to as a traffic driver, a search and discovery platform, and not really social media. So if you have watched our Pinterest for Dummies video, I'll link down below in the description. One of the things we explain in there is that Pinterest is like a library and Instagram is like a bar. No one really wants to leave the bar. They're there for engagement. They're there for all this activity. So it's very rare that people on Instagram will click away from the platform. Those who are getting traffic from Instagram are in the very small percentage. Those who are getting traffic from Pinterest are pretty much everybody because that's how it works. Pinners go to the platform, they find a pin that they like, and they come to your website. If you've not looked at your website with fresh eyes, thinking of yourself as a new visitor to your website, start there. When people come to my website, are they confused? Do they know what my product or my content is about? Do they know how to find the search bar? Do they know how to get on my email list? Do they know how to find my product listings? If this is hard for you because you're kind of too close to your website, I would highly recommend that you ask a friend or maybe in a Facebook group where you can ask your community to say, what are things that you would change on my website? What feels out of place? What feels confusing? Make a list of at least 5 things that you can change right away that will help the pinner, especially coming to your website, feel more at home. Feel less confused. That's step number 1. Evaluate your website. Before we move on to step 2, I forgot to mention this. Make sure the language that you're using is not confusing. Donald Miller, who teaches the story brand method, he has a book about it. He uses a common phrase, if you confuse, you lose. I was just meeting with a couple who was creating a travel website, and they used the words book your vision call instead of schedule a 15-minute consultation. I asked him, what's a vision call? Like, am I setting up my vision board? Am I setting my vision for my travel trip? That doesn't make any sense. comments. Well, he was very artsy, he was very creative, and he wanted to bring creative language into it. But sometimes we can get so creative that we're confusing to somebody who's totally new to us. So make it very clear if it's scheduling a 15-minute consultation or a discovery call, make it super easy for them to understand what they are signing up for. So there's a quick tip for you. Step 2 is evaluating your Pinterest profile. This often goes by different names: Pinterest account, Pinterest page, Pinterest profile. They are all the same thing. This is where you have pinterest.com/simplepinmedia. It's like an Instagram profile, but it's a Pinterest profile. When you go to your profile, number one question is, does it reflect my brand and the content or the products that I sell? Does somebody know that really, really quickly? And if they don't, well, that's your number one thing you need to change. And we're going to walk through what you need to change. It's important to note too that not a lot of people on Pinterest visit your profile. It's a very small amount, which is why I get the question all the time, how do I grow my followers on Pinterest? Well, in order to grow your followers, people have to come to your profile, and it's not a very common practice. Hence, making followers not that important. So don't worry about your follower number. You can get plenty of engagement and plenty of traffic simply by pinning. You don't need to get more followers. So I like to go top to bottom with my Pinterest profile. I like to start at the top. You can choose a banner image. And so does that banner image have something cool that reflects you? Or you could even use just a tiny bit of text in there. But for me, I just have a picture of my photography that I've done for my company. It's very red. It talks about Pinterest. It's very branded. And then your profile name, I have chosen Simple Pin Media as opposed to Kate All because I want people to be searching Simple Pin Media, and most people know me by that. I do have a personal account, but that's really not something that's factored into this equation. So Simple Pin Media is what I want the name to be. Then you can go through your settings within your Pinterest account, and you can make sure all of those settings are set, meaning your URL for Pinterest, getting a business account, making sure you claim your website, and then making sure that you have a full description of who you are and what you do. Hey there, sorry for the interruption, but this is something that I don't always talk about in every video, so I want to make sure you know. We have a Pinterest keyword planning guide that covers over 10 plus categories and niches. It has so much information there that will not only inspire you to use new Pinterest keywords, but also might help you inspire creating content. So what's inside? We have tons and tons of pages of keyword ideas, how to use and not use keywords, some seasonal and non-seasonal keyword ideas, plus a place to brainstorm and take notes. And it's yours totally free. Click on the link below in the description to get the free keyword guide and begin getting started on really creating a great SEO plan for Pinterest. Okay, back to the video. I've seen people, in fact, I was evaluating a website just recently. They were a product company selling protein powder. Well, one of the mismatches that they had was instead of the logo for the profile image, they had an image of the owner, but they had the name of what the protein powder company was. It was a little bit mismatched. So if you are a company and you have a logo, I highly suggest that you have that just simply for recognition so people know they're in the right place. Then her description was talking more about her and what she did as opposed to what the company did. So again, it was a little bit of a mismatch. If we're talking specifically about the company, then we want to make sure that in that description, we talk about what the company does or sells. Now, once the top is set, once you've gone through all your settings, then you can move on to your boards. So boards are essentially these buckets that are housing content. So we think of it as maybe you have 5 buckets in front of you. And you talk about skincare, and you talk about skincare for acne or psoriasis or even eczema. You might have different boards that tackle the type of content or products that go within that. There's really no need to have any personal boards on your account or boards that you might not be pinning to. You can move those all to secret or you can archive them. On a business profile on Pinterest, I only recommend that you have boards that are are directly related to the content or the products that you contribute to customers or readers. So in that sense, you can remove any personal boards that you want and move them to secret. Here's a quick tip. I have a lot of personal boards that are secret that I pin to because I don't want to log in and log out of different accounts. I just don't want to do it. So you can go ahead and move those to secret and still pin to them. And it doesn't have any bearing on the algorithm or Pinterest thinking you're something different than they are. They don't weigh those into who you are as a business account. So go ahead and have a bunch of secret boards. It really doesn't matter. The other question I get is about group boards. How many group boards should I have? Which leads to the question for some of you, what are group boards? Group boards are these buckets that actually have multiple owners, multiple people contributing. So sometimes these are really good for designers or stylists or photographers to work with their clients. But other times people will add people to group boards hoping to get as much engagement as possible. Group boards over the years have become so inflated with so many people. They don't have a good keyword name. They don't have a great description. And frankly, if you have group boards in your account and somebody decides to either close their Pinterest account or remove that group board, any content that you've pinned to it that might be driving traffic to your site is gone. So I highly recommend that you rely less on group boards and more on your own personal boards. So looking through just evaluate whether or not you want to keep those group boards or get rid of them. Now that you've gone through your Pinterest profile, you should have a list of things you need to update over the next couple of months. One great thing about updating your Pinterest profile is that you really don't have to do it that often. I don't change out my banner at the top very often. I don't have to change up much within my description. It all pretty much stays the same. Now, if you're wondering about the setting that has to do with Instagram, go ahead and click down below. You'll see me talk about that integration with Instagram and what it means. So go ahead and click on that below. The last and final thing you need to do within your audit is evaluate your images. Looking at your images, do they invoke a click? Do people want to click on your image? Or do they feel boring? Do they feel stale? Do they just feel like you put 2 seconds of effort into it, you put it into Canva and called it good to go? So a little bit about Pinterest images. You have a couple different formats you can choose from. You can do a standard image. This is just a standalone image, or you can do a video. For the purpose of this video, I am just going to talk about how you audit your standard images, your standalone images on Pinterest. For video, you can go ahead and audit the performance and you can see if video is actually working for you or not. But for right now, we're just going to take a regular image. A couple of things you want to make sure that every image has. You want to make sure that it has a logo in a tasteful place, that it has a call to action, that it has context with a pin copy, and it has your brand font and colors. Now, you're more than welcome to play up with colors. You don't have to always use your brand colors. This is especially true if you have seasonal content. Maybe if you have something that does really well in the fall, you want to use fall colors. That's okay. But to make sure you have all these elements added into every pin gives your pins the opportunity to be clicked on by the Pinterest user, as opposed to ones that don't have any context, that don't make sense, or they're confusing. Some people ask the question, do we use text or no text? Think about it this way. If I am looking for a gluten-free recipe, a dairy-free recipe, if I see this beautiful picture of a brownie, well, sure, that's amazing, but I don't know if it's actually something I can eat. In fact, I might just assume it's not gluten-free or it's not dairy-free, so I'm going to go past it. But if I put on the image that this brownie is gluten-free, I have a greater chance of connecting with the person who is looking for gluten-free brownies, which means they might stick around my website a little bit longer, which means they might actually sign up for my email list. So it's really important that you make a list of all the changes you're going to make to your Pinterest images, or some things you're going to test and try. All right, that is a very simple way that you can audit your Pinterest account or your Pinterest marketing. You can start by auditing your website, then go to your Pinterest profile, and then go into your images. When we do the audit for you, we go a little bit deeper than the high level I've done today. But if this is something you want to tackle on your own, set aside 1 hour. And you can go through all of this and make a list next to wherever you're at. You can write it on a regular piece of paper and plan to make these adjustments over the next couple of months. This is especially important for somebody who's decided that Pinterest marketing is a really important part of your marketing strategy. You want to use Pinterest to get more traffic, to get more email leads, and to make more sales. If that's a really important goal for you, then making sure you have a solid foundation within your Pinterest account is really, really important. I cannot stress this enough. A lot of people will come to me and they will say, how many times do I pin per day? I'll ask them, have you ever done a Pinterest audit on your account? Have you ever gone through and looked at it and seen if there's anything you needed to change? And they say, nope, I haven't. I always tell them, go back, do a Pinterest audit, and see what are the things you need to update and change in order to be really successful on Pinterest. Okay, let me know if you've audited your Pinterest account, what you learned while you were doing the audit. Actually, you can even watch this video, go do the audit, and come back and let me know. I would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe.